The forbidden truth angle, the cinematic revelation, the eternal question.
Brothers and sisters, just pause for a moment. Just one moment. Step away, mentally, emotionally, from the endless noise that surrounds us every day. The flood of news alerts, the social media scroll, the racing thoughts that echo in your mind and weigh on your heart. Let them all fade into the background, just for now. Because what we're about to reflect on together is not just another trending scandal from Hollywood. It's not a passing controversy designed to stir up clicks and views. No, this is something bigger, something deeper. A sign. A profound sign that stands at the intersection of cinema, science, faith, and divine mystery. Mel Gibson, the bold, often controversial director who once shocked the world with The Passion of the Christ, is speaking again. But this time, he's not speaking through a character or a camera. There's no script in his hand, no scene on a set. This time, he's speaking directly, as himself. And what he's speaking about is an object that has stirred the human soul for centuries. An object that has sparked awe, devotion, debate, and division.
He's talking about the Shroud of Turin. Yes, that shroud. The ancient linen cloth that, according to tradition, wrapped the broken and crucified body of Jesus Christ. A sacred relic to some, a subject of skepticism to others, but always a symbol of mystery and wonder. And what does Mel Gibson have to say about it? In a tone that is both impassioned and defiant, he declares, "They are lying to you about the shroud." It's not a whisper. It's not a casual opinion. It's a bold accusation, one that challenges what many have come to accept, and it demands our attention. But why? Why would a Hollywood director, a man of fame and film, insert himself into a theological and scientific storm that has raged for decades? Because Mel Gibson is not just any director. He is a man who has poured his art into his faith, who dared to portray the suffering of Christ on the big screen with raw, unforgettable power. Many of us still remember the intensity, the agony, the heartbreaking beauty of the Passion. It was more than a film. It was a spiritual experience. And now? Now, he's preparing for something even more ambitious. Mel Gibson is making a new film, The Resurrection of the Christ. And he's starting at the heart of a great mystery, the shroud. For him, it's not just cloth. It's not just an artifact. It's evidence. Evidence that the shroud is authentic, that it is real, that it is true. But what if he's right? Let's look back. In 1988, carbon dating tests conducted in laboratories in Oxford, Zurich, and Tucson seemed to settle the question. Their results dated the cloth between 1260 and 1390 AD, squarely in the Middle Ages. The verdict was swift. It's a medieval forgery, a fake. The headlines flew, the skeptics rejoiced. Case closed, they said. But was it really? Because as often happens when we rush to judgment, the truth didn't stop there. In the years that followed, a flood of new scientific studies emerged, each one casting fresh doubt on that original dating. It turned out the sample used in the 1988 test might have been contaminated, possibly from a section that had been repaired in the Middle Ages. More revelations followed. Microscopic pollen from the Middle East was found woven into the fibers. A mysterious, three-dimensional image was discovered, one no modern technology has been able to replicate. Spectrometry, chemistry, nuclear physics, all were brought to bear. And yet, the mystery only deepened. How was that image created? Who left it? Why can't we explain it? Now, in the midst of researching his resurrection film, Gibson speaks out again, and he says, with unwavering conviction, "Don't believe the lie. The shroud is authentic." This is no small claim. This is the foundation of what promises to be the most spiritually intense and visually stunning film of his career, even more than The Passion. 8 years in the making, the resurrection of the Christ will not simply be a scene, it will be a cosmic moment. Gibson describes it as a battle between light and darkness, a descent into hell, an eruption of divine light in the darkest void of the universe. And here again, the shroud takes center stage. Because if the Passion was the story of Christ's ultimate sacrifice, then the shroud is what remains in the quiet aftermath. It is the silent, haunting echo of something extraordinary, the final proof, left not in words but in fabric, not a museum artifact, not a relic to be stored behind glass, but a living witness to the greatest event in human history. Now, close your eyes. Just imagine it. A linen cloth, fragile, ancient, stained, and on it, a man's figure, his body scourged, his head crowned with thorns, his side pierced. But his face is calm, serene, not twisted in agony, not frozen in rage, but peaceful. That face does not curse, it does not accuse, it forgives. What if that really was the face of Jesus? Think about it. The only moment in history when the body of Christ was neither alive nor dead. After the crucifixion, before the resurrection. A divine pause, an eternal heartbeat, suspended between earth and heaven. And it was in that moment, perhaps, that the shroud was touched by something no science can explain. No pigment, no paint, no brush, just a release of energy, a burst of light, like the very fabric of the universe inhaled and left behind the imprint of eternity. But how does this all lead us to the resurrection? Well, that is exactly where we'll go next. As if from within the very fibers of his being, the energy burst forth, not just light but life, as if the body itself had truly risen. In a recent interview, Mel Gibson didn't hold back. With conviction in his voice, he said, "The shroud is a declaration from God, and they've been lying to us for far too long." Strong words, controversial, even polarizing, but also necessary. Because if what he's saying is true, if the shroud is real, then everything changes. Every assumption, every doubt, every way we've lived our lives. If the shroud is real, then the resurrection is real. And if the resurrection is real, then Christ is alive. And if Christ is alive, truly alive, then nothing can remain the same. We can no longer afford to live as if this was all a myth, as if faith were some comforting tale we tell ourselves in dark times. We can no longer say, "Yes, Jesus rose," but only in spirit. No, that's not enough anymore. Because if the shroud is real, if that image was left behind by a risen, glorified body, then he rose in the flesh. God entered human history. He faced death. And he won. And with this new film, Mel Gibson isn't merely creating another cinematic work. He's crafting something far more ambitious. A bridge. A bridge between heaven and the screen. Between ancient faith and modern storytelling. Between the eternal and the now. He is calling the world to remember. Do not forget what happened. Do not forget the price of your salvation. And above all, do not forget that the tomb was left empty. And now, finally, the moment so many have been waiting for is here. Filming is about to begin. Yes, the official announcement has been made. The cameras are preparing to roll. Locations have been chosen, sets are under construction, and the Christian world holds its breath. This will not be an ordinary production. Gibson himself has called it the most complex film in the history of cinema. Not because of expensive CGI or dazzling effects, not because of how do you tell the story of the event that shattered death itself? How do you portray a moment when time and eternity collided and history was forever changed? Sources close to the production reveal something extraordinary. The Shroud of Turin may play a central role in the film, not as a dusty relic, not as a side detail, but as a visible sign of the invisible, a sacred testimony, a kind of cinematic relic that cries out to all who watch, "It's all true." Imagine this: a final scene, silence, a tomb filled with radiant light. The body of Christ disappears in a burst of glory, and there, resting on the stone, is the linen. Not soaked in suffering, but glowing with transfigured beauty. And on it, the face, still, peaceful, glorious, no longer marked by thorns or blood or pain, but by eternal victory. That, my friends, may be the image that Gibson brings to the screen. An image no special effect could ever replicate. Because it won't come from the outside, it will reflect what already lives inside the heart of every believer. And in this age, when so many seem to have forgotten God, heaven has not forgotten us. It still speaks. It speaks through the Shroud, through Mel Gibson and his daring vision, through miracles, even modern ones. Just look at what happened recently in India, a Eucharistic miracle where the face of Christ appeared on a consecrated host. The same face, the same expression, the same mystery, suffering, radiant and real. God is trying to reach us. He is calling for our attention, to remind us, you are not alone, that death has already been defeated, that light has already triumphed. And now, brother, sister, it's your turn. If you believe, truly believe, that Christ rose from the dead, then give this video a like. Not for fame, not for numbers, but as a sign of faith. If you have something to share, your doubts, your story, your belief, write it in the comments. This space is for you. You are welcome here. And most importantly, share this video. Send it to someone who needs to see in order to believe, to someone weary, to someone searching, to someone who has forgotten that miracles still happen. Subscribe to this channel because in the days ahead, we will reveal even more. The hidden truths of the Shroud, the details behind Mel Gibson's powerful new film, and the miracles still happening right now in our own time. The world needs the truth. And the truth has a face. That face is imprinted on the Shroud, imprinted on the host, and maybe, just maybe, already imprinted on your heart. May God bless you. May He awaken your faith. And may we never forget, the tomb was empty.